So in this video today, I'm going to be talking about payroll, and the first thing I can tell you is that when I say payroll, what I'm talking about is the process of actually paying yourself a certain amount of money and then having taxes withheld out of that money, and then you're getting a net paycheck or a net pay stub. That's what I'm talking about when I say payroll. Now, payroll is a very complicated, in my opinion, payroll is a very complicated process. There's a lot of forms and there's a lot of filings and there's a lot of deadlines, and this can really get messed up really fast if it's not done correctly. So when people ask me about payroll, and when owner operators ask me about payroll, and trucking business company owners, they talk about payroll, what I say, my number one recommendation is do not try to do this stuff on your own. I recommend that you get with a payroll service provider, a full service payroll provider, to take care of it. It's just too many areas to mess up on this. And just for an example here, I have an example of a paycheck. So let's say you're paying a driver, or if you're paying yourself, and you want to get set up on payroll. If you pay yourself $1,000, let's say you say, I want to pay myself $1,000 a week. All right, so the gross pay is $1,000, but the net pay is only, for math, the net pay is about $750. So that's $250 of taxes that have been withheld. Well, you have to figure out, and this is where payroll service provider will help you. You have to then figure out, okay, well, this $250 that I didn't get, or the employee didn't get, where does it go? That's where your payroll service provider comes in, because a portion of that is going to the federal government, the federal withholding, the Social Security, and the Medicare. And then depending on which state you live in, you could have state withholdings that you need to withhold. So there's more money that needs to be sent to a different agency. So not only do you have to send this money to different agencies throughout the year, throughout the month, throughout the quarter, you also have certain forms that need to be filed with the state and with the federal government as well. So again, I think for owner operators out there, it's just way too messy of a process to try to figure out on your own. So you should work with the payroll service provider to help you sort all this out. Okay, Brandon, how do I get this done? Well, there's two ways you can do it. You can either work with an accountant that you're currently using to get this done, or you can work with the payroll service provider directly. So if you're working with an accountant, you just may ask, hey, do you offer payroll services as well? And see what they say. And they may offer payroll services. A lot of accountants do offer payroll services. Or another option is you can work directly with the payroll service provider yourself, like ADP, for example. But either way, no matter how you get it done, you want to make sure you ask at least a few questions or figure out a few things. Number one is, the first thing you need to figure out is how much is it going to cost you? So, and get the full loaded cost, right? Like, how much is it going to cost you to set it all up? How much is it going to cost you to manage it? Make sure all this money is sent to the government, however often it needs to be sent. How much is it going to be to make sure all the payroll forms are filed with the government? What about the W-2 processing at the end of the year? Just make sure you got a complete understanding of how all those costs are going to work before you get started, so that you know how much it's going to be for you. Second thing you want to know is, what's the term? Is it a month-to-month payroll service? Is it a payroll service for the year? Ask them what the term is for them to actually handle the payroll for you. Last thing you want to know is if they are in fact a full service payroll provider. And what I mean by that is, you want to be working with a company that's going to take care of all this stuff for you, all the filings, all the forms, the W-2s at the end of the year. You want to make sure you got somebody that's taking care of all that stuff for you. So make sure you're working with a full service payroll provider, not just a payroll provider who's only going to set up like the direct deposit so you can get paid every week or once a month or whatever. Make sure you're working with somebody who's going to handle the entire payroll process for you, and make sure you understand that before you get started with them. Just a very quick video of the payroll process. It can be a lot. That's why the video is so short. I just recommend you get a payroll service provider to take care of this for you. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.